Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a special Geek First episode review. Oh boy, I'm the broken Travis Snail.
Travis the Broken.
Travis the Broken.
I'm the Long Night Taylor Field.
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't guessed by this name or the title, we are reviewing the Game of Thrones season finale. It's a weird thing because we've not done a single episode. I think we've talked about on Newscast before, but it's a big one. We want to talk about it. And then also to do with that, Taylor, what's going on Facebook right now for only a few more weeks, right? I guess.
Yeah,
or a few more days, really.
Literally just a few more days.
Yeah.
The Game of Thrones poll is happening, right now. You got to go check it out. I don't know exactly the time this cast is dropping. I'm assuming it's happening before the 6 o'clock rotation.
It'll
but
be really close so with upload time. So I'd say there'd be a new poll either dropping right as this episode's going up or right at a few hours after.
Okay, so if that's the case, tune over because the new poll dropping is a Civil War round. So 3 characters facing off, and it's a good time. So it'll be. Because I think right now it's Cersei versus the Night King, and I think the Night King has a little bit of a lead there. But the Civil War round, obviously everyone knows at this point, it'll come down to Arya versus Ned
everyone
versus
knows
Davos.
At this point. Everyone.
What? Who's gonna win?
No. He's saying everyone knows. Oh, I know what you mean now. Okay.
Because you can see who's still alive on the light.
Yeah, I just think it sounded like you made it sound like everyone in the world knows. Oh, everyone knows what's going on.
Everyone knows. We've been tweeting it out. But no, yeah, it'll come down to Arya, Ned, and Sir Davos. So make sure you're there to pop your vote in because the one who has the least amount of votes amongst all 3 of them will not be moving on to the next round.
Yeah, I've just given up faith. The worst people have won these polls. We have a Stannis Baratheon fan page just bombarding our polls. I really don't think he should be in the Hall of Fame winners because they're just going to come in and we need to wait. At least the Hall of Fame winners will be years from now, so hopefully the hype is down. But it's ridiculous. All you people, if you're listening that are on our Facebook that have been voting for the winners, I've lost so much respect to you. The Night King is beating Cersei. Are you kidding me?
That's a given. Easily.
No, no, it's not.
Oh, yeah.
Name one character trait about the Night King.
One character trait?
Yeah, name development in the Night King.
He's very confident. He developed his confidence from being behind the scenes to actually being right in the
We
in
didn't
the battle.
see that. When has he changed since we saw him? What did he want to do?
What did he want to do?
Yeah.
Well, he wanted to take out the 3-eyed raven.
Why?
Because he doesn't like men.
Why?
Because he was turned against them by the children of the forest.
You look like you're guessing now. You're trying to make pigeonholes because the Night King is an awful character that led to a disappointing episode. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Other things to check out this week. We got an X-Men retro dropping. What are we on now? First Class. We did X3. We did X1, X2, X-Men Origins, which was a wild one. So First Class, that's a fun one. We got a Star Wars Clone Wars retro dropping, so check that out. I think Dylan's doing a review for a game. I think it's called Overworld. I don't know for sure.
Outer Worlds?
Outer Worlds, maybe? Yeah,
Is that one that he was all hyped about from the...
No. That's right. Check it. Just subscribe to our channel and give us a review. We're trying to get to 100 or 200 written reviews on iTunes. And then also this week you'll have Aladdin and Brightburn. So we got tons of stuff popping off. And then next week, what is happening next week? You are doing...
next week we got the Godzilla King of the Monsters review coming out. And also in celebration of that, I'll be doing the Netflix Godzilla Part 3 review for that.
Celebration a la Taylor alone. And then I guess I got to keep pimping them. E3 is coming up. We're going to be doing, we also probably have a very spunky, fun announcement during E3, but we're going to be doing Sunday and Monday. Sunday's Xbox and Ubi, and Sunday is Xbox Bethesda, and Sunday, oh my God, take 2. Sunday is Xbox and Bethesda, and then Monday is Ubisoft and Square Enix. We'll be doing watch-alongs and podcasts immediately after that, so you can come watch on YouTube to watch along and have some fun with us. If not, you can catch it on the podcast feeds. Nintendo, we will be doing at some point. It's hard to know when people work or don't work, so I don't know if it'll be that actual Tuesday or sometime in the week. We'll cover it, and then there's Dark Phoenix as well coming up. So we got a whole bunch of stuff, so please subscribe. Just go to Facebook because that's where you can follow everything that's happening. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about Game of Thrones. Taylor and I are confused on this because I don't think we need to not say not spoilers, but I don't know. I don't know if we need to talk or we're going to talk about the series finale, and then we're going to talk about the probably series as a whole. But I don't feel we need to you know.
Sure, we don't need to.
I guess I could give a quick. I could. Well, no, because if I don't know, we don't. Who's listening to this? Who is listening to the
He's having a
game?
conversation with himself
Who
right
is
now.
listening to the Game of Thrones finale review and they've not caught up on the show? Who?
I don't know. Were there
Idiots.
people that watched or didn't watch the Endgame movie, but just tuned into our spoilers
That's
review?
one movie, but they wanted to. They just wanted to listen. So that's
Yeah.
what I mean. So, you know what? I don't know, Taylor. You can start this.
Yeah. So for me, wow, Game of Thrones, long part of my life. You know, literally probably like a good almost half of my life. Really, it's like 8 to not 10 years.
No,
8 years.
no.
So maybe like a fraction of it.
you were because what the show's hasn't it been going for 9 years because they took one season.
Yeah.
So you're saying you're 18 years old?
9 years. Well, I might have like.
He's lying to you, viewers. Oh, half my life. Yeah, right.
Okay, well, you know, my cousin, he was always big into Game of Thrones. You know, he was like, Taylor, you gotta check the show. You gotta check the show. And I was like, oh, you know, no, not really for me. Don't really want to get into it.
Wow.
I know, but then Boxing Day came around. Then I went to, I think this is when season 3 was
Oh my
on
god!
TV.
You didn't start to like season 3, season 4.
No, I started when season 3 came out. That's when I jumped in. But for me, I think I went to Target because it was Black Friday and season 1 was on sale for like $20. I was like, you know, let's try it out. Let's give it a go. So I got season 1 and I watched it all in one day, and I went back and bought season 2 the next day for Black Friday and whatever. I thought this is just great, and I thought the ending of season 2, you know, like what the fuck? I have to wait now, and so I waited and you know watched season 3, watched season 4, just because consistent after that. It just kept getting better and better. I loved it, and there was just so for a show, it just did so many different things that other shows couldn't get away with, and I really enjoyed the anticipation of each episode, and even then just. George R.R. Martin could just get away with, by not allowing, like the bad guys to get their comeuppance, so the good guys to always get like their victory at the end of the day. It was just that sometimes that in between feeling there, that in between result can sometimes be similar and equivalent to, just this. It's an unsatisfied feeling that you get, and this show got away with doing that so well for so long with these characters and the unexpected deaths and everything. And I feel like going into the season 8, that's how it still kind of feels. It just has that that unsatisfying feeling, but it's in a way that it can get away with it, in a way that it just wraps it up still nicely. But we'll get more into that after Travis goes.
Yeah, you're definitely right. It does have an unsatisfying feeling this final season. So I'm someone that I've not read the books, didn't know what the hell Game of Thrones was. I've been excuse me,
coughing all day.
Oh yeah, if I'm a little tired, I've been on the bend this weekend, so not a drinker's bend, sitting on my couch and being sick bend. I tuned in this show just because I was a Sean Bean fan, and I was like, I like HBO. They've created some of my favorite and some of the greatest shows of all time. I like medieval fantasy stuff, and I love Sean Bean. And that was the only reason why. I had no context to this book series, this and that. And then eventually, we'll get into fans in general. Book fans, I'm so happy. There's part of me that you didn't get to the books before the shows because you guys were the worst in spoiling stuff. Like, I found out Ned died way before the finale, So it's like you book fans, some of you were really sick. Oh, yeah, he's going to die. I don't know. I've never had, but that's why I watched it. And to me, I loved 1 and 2. And then kind of throughout, I think they had some highs and lows. I think for me, I do appreciate what Taylor's saying as far as the kind of subverting expectations. Sometimes, the good guys don't always win, bad guys don't always die or, get their comeuppance. But I think for me sometimes, and this isn't a shot at the show, it's a shot whether it's the show or the book. I think for me sometimes it was too much of a shock value thing. And George R. R. Martin said he likes to do that. He likes to kill off characters to keep you on your toes and shock. But sometimes at one point, I think in kind of that 4 to 6 range in between that. It just felt like too much for me at sometimes, where like when the Viper came in and gets killed right away. It's for me, and yeah, it's crushing. But for a while, I was just like, I can't invest anything. So for a while, I wasn't watching them weekly. I'd let them pile up about, especially those earlier seasons when you'd see one character for about 5 minutes per episode, and that was it. I was like, I was still enjoying it, but I was like, this is not a appointment television for me. So I kind of watched them 3 back to back, and then eventually it caught up, and I don't know when, but I always thought it was a great show. And then when the Battle Bastards happened, I was like, this is a top 10, whatever. You could throw it in there with the greatest TV shows of all time. And I was on a high. I really enjoyed last season. I like everything they did. And the show is phenomenal, from cinematography, from acting, from score. It is, and I'm going to have lots of problems with this final season, but it is no way. It's still made and done like a master class. You know, it's still, that's where I have lots of problems. I think Taylor thinks I probably hate this final episode and season a lot more than I actually do, because I always say things aren't a fail for me if there's good acting, if there's good editing, if scenes you can actually are structured well. You know, I may not like what happens in them, but as long as kind of the fundamentals of film or TV are being done well, I'll give it a pass, or at least say, okay, there's some merit there. So I felt from Battle of the Bastards on, I was like, this is one of the greatest shows of all time. Up there is no Breaking Bad, and we saw that happen with the finale, because Breaking Bad, 11 out of 10 finale. We'll talk about it. But then I kind of think this season, to put it back in the conversation for me of not being one of the greatest shows of all time. I think from a filmmaking standpoint, yes, the scope, what it did for TV, it was one of those huge appointment viewings, as far as it captured a nation, captured a world, everyone wanted to see it. But I think this season hurt it a lot. Not to make it a terrible show, not to even make it a good show. I still think it's a great show, and it does lots of things, but I don't think throughout the season they kind of stuck the landing. And I liked... I think I liked 4 out of the 6 episodes a lot. I think the Battle of Winterfell. What was the actual name? The Long Night.
The Long Night. Yeah.
That episode I still liked, even though I had tons of problems with. So it was up until, which everyone knows, the last episode, and then this one where I went, this is really not working for me. And I feel that the finale and the choices, and we're gonna get into all those. For me, the best way I could describe the finale is, let's say I want to have a taco night, right? And I love all these things in taco. I love beans, I love avocados, I love salsa, I love shrimp, got my cauliflower rice, there's all this stuff. And then I go shopping and then I come back. But the problem is I forgot half the ingredients. So I do taco night and it's still good, but it's only as good as I can have it be because, I'm an idiot. I forgot half those seasonings. And that's what to me the finale felt like, where I enjoy the finale. I think it was a satisfying ending, but satisfying only in the way that it wrapped up the story well as what they set up. It's only as good as it could have been. It never got to that great lengths because I felt what they did in episode 5 made it so it couldn't be great. It is rushed. I didn't have problem with choices, and that's a problem with I think that's the thing going on with the internet. It's a problem of lots of people have cons for this season or episode, but I feel that there's all these camps, because there's some camps that, they just hate that Daenerys turned evil, and then there's camps that feel it was rushed, or there's camps that feel it. That's a problem. It's not there's one big problem. I think a lot of people have multiple problems with it, and we're going to get into those. But, yeah, overall, it was disappointing. Still a good show. Still enjoyed it. But I think they kind of shot themselves in the foot, and it is, which we're going to talk about. We talk about all the time. I feel like this will be similar to Cantina. This is now, Rian Johnson must be very happy because I feel like this is the new Last Jedi. It's taken over as far as that love-hate thing, because you can go online and see all these people loving it, but then there's tons of people just talking about terrible season. And there's two things, too. I think two fans that I'm not a fan of is, one, the people that want to do remakes and petitions. Those are just fucking losers, and they're idiots. And it's the same thing with Robert Pattinson as Batman when they're doing these petitions. I wish there should be a clause that the second you do that, you shouldn't be allowed to watch, because it's even Taylor, that's not the biggest fan of Robert Pattinson, I don't think he's going around signing petitions.
I've never
it's let's see what he can do. And that's the same way that. And then the other route, and then Taylor's not as bad as this, but I've seen other people when they go, Taylor threw some shade at me last night in our group or my private chat with him of what would you write? That's a dumb thing, because some people just, if you didn't like it, it's their story, you didn't write it, you go write something else. And I don't like that either, because then it feels like, what, are we not allowed to critique anything? Because if I didn't write a story and people go, what have you ever read? Unless you're a screenwriter who gets paid to do this for a living, I don't believe anybody should be able to go, you write a better finale. that's not a valid criticism, because then even if Taylor like goes, oh, I liked Endgame, well, you didn't write it, why should you like it? It's not your story. You know, it's like if you go to a restaurant and you eat something and you go, oh, I didn't like this, is the chef going to come out and go, well, you make it yourself? It's like, well, I've never made, flan before. I'm just telling you it doesn't taste good. So I do not like that criticism. I feel both sides, people that have been negative of the show have been too negative with the petitions, and then people for it have been. That's the other thing with Taylor. You threw some of that at me like, oh, you write a better finale. That's not my job. My job is to say, look, and we do that sometimes, yeah, but then you have the fans that go, oh, well, you shouldn't do what you would have wanted to happen, what you should have happened. Just judge what did happen. And then when you judge it, they go, well, it's not your show. I feel like the only reason you and other people do that, they don't do that for stuff they don't like. I bet you those same people, if they were critiquing BVS, like this was awful, they never have that in their mind like, well, I didn't write it. So I feel like people that use that argument of, oh, well, you didn't write it, or you go write a finale, only do that when it's something you like. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think so. I think there's a lot of hypocrisy going on with this season on both sides. So and that's one last thing I'll say and then go to you. That I've really liked the show, but this was never my show. You'll see during this review, when we talk about people on mainstream, there's so many people in that meeting last night. I was like, who the fuck is this guy? Mm-hmm. I am super mainstream when it comes to the show. I watched season 1 to 3 about 2 or 3 times, but that's when I was single and I didn't have much going on. Now I got a kid, this and that. This is a show I really like, but it's not my Marvel. It's not a Star Wars. It's not Breaking Bad. It's not Hannibal. It's not a show that I just was enthralled with. It was just, hey, this is on every Sunday. I really enjoyed it. So, for me, that's why it's like, I guess I can kind of step away and go, oh, well, I can take myself out of this, and yeah, so it's going to be an interesting cast.
There's a lot of people out there, and the petition people are, they're kind of like in that line of like, they want people to rewrite these episodes, but, if you have a problem with it, I don't know. Like I kind of on the fence where, if you have a problem with something, you present that problem, but then present a solution for it. But but
then like I said, I could say, oh, but don't do that. You should just critique what's been put. You couldn't go. This is what I would do.
I'll give you that. Yeah. Because you're right. I think I misinterpreted for most of your hate. I thought. That doesn't make sense. I think I thought you hated it more than you did.
No, I still think, and then we can start talking about, I liked the finale. I think it's just, I was never going to love it because I didn't love what they did with episode 5. I didn't. Yeah. And for me, I was not one of these people like, oh, Daenerys shouldn't turn evil. I'm fine with that. I didn't see it coming, to be honest. I saw it coming once she stops those bells goes. I feel like everyone was like, oh, no. Because I was screaming at my team, like, please don't do this. And then she did this, not in a way of like, no, Daenerys. It's like, it just felt, and it's so funny because we were talking about this last night of like George Lucas being on the set of Game of Thrones. I got flashbacks to episode 3, which it's a weird way to get flashbacks because when I saw it, I was a kid and that didn't matter. But when I was an adult, my biggest problem with the Revenge of the Sith is Anakin's turn. It's so quick and so short. For me, this guy who was expecting a child and seems like a nice enough guy, it's just slaughtering children, and that was for me. It's never, I was never like, oh, Daenerys needs to be the hero of the story. It's just that turning her that way, and people have thrown out all these things like, oh, she kills this people. Even Tyrion did that last night in the episode. Oh, she crucified these people and we all cheered her on. They're still fucking really bad people. I never understood. They were, though. She was never
No, that's what Tyrion says. He says, every time she's killed bad people, we cheered her on for it.
But what is in her mind? Why does she feel these women and children are bad? What does she feel?
To her, she just sees them as, they follow, or no, she saw them as, being used against her by Cersei, and she got to the point where she didn't care about, her mercy being used anymore, and she didn't care anymore.
But that's the problem, is they weren't being used against her. She won. She just flat out won the war very easily, which is another problem I have. I guess we're talking about this whole season, the show, but it's kind of a 5 to 6 because I feel those episodes are very intertwined. It feels like you could have honestly made a 2.5 finale and put those together because this episode picks up right after that. And for me, it's just I forgot where I was going. God damn it! But where was I thinking? You go somewhere and I'll try to find my way back.
For me, Daenerys' transition, it just I remember I wasn't really yelling at my TV, but I was thinking oh no, I can't, I don't want her to do it. I don't want her to do it. But again, I watched through the whole series leading up to this point. I rewatched certain episodes and just her downfall. It just, you can see it displayed so many times throughout other episodes. You know, they can live in my new world or die in their old one. I'm not here to, I'm here to break the wheel. I'm not. And even moments when she's trying to sound good, when she says, to her council and to Olana Tyrell and the I can't remember her name, but the woman from Dorne and all that stuff, and the Greyjoy. She's just like, I'm not here to be Queen of the Ashes. Just when you rewatch these scenes, you can just see like, yeah, she's saying these things, but it doesn't do any justice for her backing her point that she doesn't want to be the Queen of the Ashes. When she says those things, most of the time, it's like she's saying it to convince herself. The only one that steered her away from her dark tendencies are her original followers and friends that she's grown with, and all of these things too. And even again, like predicted back from season 2, there's just so much going on that she just. I don't know. Like there's many people I feel like where if they live this life of being crumbled upon or trampled upon and just being brought down all the time, and finally you're thrown into this position of power, being told it's your birthright, you are destined for this and this and this, she let it go to her head, and even when she did the great things, still bad things came out of it. And for me, I personally would have preferred her just to never go to Westeros. I think she could have honestly had a great time ruling Meereen.
Had a great time.
Yeah, and I think that should have been, that would have been a perfect ending for her story, but it's Game of Thrones and it doesn't work like that.
See, but for me, everything those examples you showed to me could be also turned the other way of showing that she is going to break the wheel and whatnot. To me, that doesn't mean mass genocide. To me, that means that we're going to do things right. The same way when she's talking to Jon in the finale at the very end, they're like, oh, we're going to change and there will be mercy. To me, that's what I always took it as. And for me, also people saying that, oh, everyone's always said that she could become the Mad Queen. I feel that's the problem of, in my opinion, it's a lot of telling, not showing. I could say for weeks that Taylor's the pizza master, but that doesn't make him like he could go and win the pizza eating contest, just because like, oh, well, I've been saying he's the pizza master, so he must be the pizza master. For me, that was the thing where it's just like people using that excuse, like, oh, they've always called her the Mad Queen. And to me, I thought the story, and that's where it's fine, was her overcoming that reputation and becoming above that and showing that she can be different. And I'm fine if they want to show she failed at that, but to do that in an episode and a half, because I think everyone agrees with this. We needed more episodes because it wasn't a cliff note because it had a lot to do around it. But the fact that Daenerys just gets knifed and killed in the finale, and that's just kind of it for this character who we've been with since the very beginning of the show, to me was very, very, I'm losing the word, but it was earth shattering to me that like
she got Ned Stark.
She did, but Ned Stark got this whole season build up and I guess this is the finale, I get it, but that was just felt so much more epic, and I get it, you got the stuff with Dragon and stuff like that, but it just felt so quick and so rushed, and just even then too, when when Jon walks up to her, she just already feels like a villain of just, oh, when I was a little girl, and she's just like monologuing, and it just felt, like she just made that turn so quickly to me, in my opinion, because I don't take those things that people say, because to me, when she says I'm not going to be the Queen of Ashes, that to me is her saying that. I don't look at them and be like, oh, she didn't believe it. And for me, also that those visions of her and seeing the with the ashes by the thrones and everything, you could also take that as that is a potential future, but she wants to break away from that. It wasn't earned, and I felt the finale became messy because of that as well. Because with Daenerys getting killed off, that's a whole mess in itself with the dragons and that. That's what I remembered is. It bugged. I'm with other people there. I can suspend my disbelief for some things and other things I can't. I hated how they handled the dragons in these last 3 episodes. What were the writers' reasons why that second dragon got killed? Oh, she forgot about the battalion, even though
when she went back to Dragonstone with
and even though the prior scene was them standing in front of this fucking map, and it's just like I don't know if it's wise or bad enough, just like, oh, she may have forgotten about them, but they didn't forget about her. And that's fine. But then the next scene in the next episode, there's just, I don't know, almost triple the amount of boats there. And Dragon just destroys them effortlessly. And that's why, to me, there's so much things that happen in this final, and even the series now, that does hurt. As far as Jon being revealed as a Targaryen and this whole conspiracy and this whole telling Daenerys doesn't really matter. And the whole Night King, I thought, okay, that I've never liked the Night King stuff. It's fine, but I don't like brainless villains. Taylor loves people that look fucking cool. So that's Taylor's bandwagon. That's Taylor's bandwagon. That's not mine. So for me, when he got killed off, I'm like, good. The whole story is about Game of Thrones. That's why I really liked episode 4. And I thought, okay, the Night King, I thought it was pointless. It was a disappointing episode, but it was just a setup. Oh, Jon Snow's a good leader. No, there's nothing with the Night King anymore because he wasn't said to be a good leader because he didn't become one. We'll get to that after. And then also I thought that and the second, what's the dragon's that got killed? Rhaegar, when he got killed and Daenerys losing some of her army, I thought, oh, this is clearly to set up. It's going to be very tough to take over King's Landing. And then in episode 5, and I don't know if it's rush or if that's what they decided. No, this dragon's just OP ever. Like the past few episodes, no, they're regular like animals, but this dragon can just destroy everything. And there was no bounce in the season. They were breaking the rules the whole time. There was no tension because, yeah, it was cool to see visually this King's Landing getting destroyed, but it felt now all those episodes of battles and breaking the army down. Because to me, I thought the point was last season, it felt Daenerys could clearly take out Cersei and this city. So this season's going to be about, oh, she's going to lose a lot of things and it's going to be a big struggle. It was not a struggle at all. It just happened.
But, like with the thing with Drogon, Daenerys was completely she was very strategic and using the sun to her advantage. These things can't aim. They can't aim straight up. They can only aim to an angle. And on top of that, half the time Euron's got his hand over his face looking around.
So what was she doing in episode 4 though?
Episode 4?
Yeah. And she just forgets about them.
In that case, honestly, like they weren't flying really fast. They were literally just gliding above, which is a much easier target than something shooting straight down.
No, but how does she forget them? How does she not know these people have dragon-killing weapons that could kill my children? We should be on guard these the whole time.
Yeah, but she just assumed that Dragonstone was safe.
Oh, yeah.
She just
That's
assumed
so
it.
dumb. That's so dumb. When you assume you make an ass out of you and me.
My biggest problem with that is, like, Rhaegal was my favorite dragon, and it really crushed me when he got not 1, not 2, but 3 fucking perfectly accurate shots in him. I remember I was watching the episode the other day with my dad, and he's like, whoa! And the second, whoa! And the third, right in the neck. Oh my god! Like, it's just to show you that this dragon's not coming back, But
I can't believe you have favorite dragons because you were the one last time we were talking when you were like talking about the dragon destroying the throne. It was fine. It was a good moment. I got it, and I guess we can kind of go through that order of the episode because at the beginning was just like towns destroyed. Jon and Grey Worm are just not dick measuring. They can't sword measuring, but just don't kill them all. The queen said that. So there's all these interactions going on. One before we get to that dragon thing, I love the interaction. Everything Tyrion did in this episode is great. Tyrion's my favorite character. He somehow lost to Ned Stark, but I get it because of Sean Bean. So what was I going to say? He was great in 2 ways. One, I love the scene with him and finding Jaime and Cersei, which we'll get into maybe near the end because there's not much of that. Because I hated the way they did Jaime. I'll take that back. Jaime is my favorite character of all time in this show. He's actually one of my favorite TV characters until last week because I just did not think I felt like they were building towards something, and then they just took a big U-turn. And I get it. Oh, it's love. It makes you do something.
I get it. The death of duty.
I get it,
Duty's
but
the death of
it
love.
just then also felt like a waste of time. Why they make Brienne just this sobbing mess episodes ago? Like it's just like okay. It just felt like they had a dartboard, and they're like every episode they threw darts, and then we're gonna write that. And the next episode they didn't follow that strain. Like let's throw darts again and see what happens. So he finds Jaime and Cersei. That was a great scene. And Tyrion talking to Daenerys was great. Of like, yo, you committed treason. Like you slaughtered a whole city. I'm getting to that part where so all this stuff happens. Sean's gonna go talk to her. He kills her, like what we were talking about, and then the dragon destroys the throne. Great moment of him finding Daenerys, destroying the throne because we'll get into. It's very much like Gollum and Lord of the Rings, and it's the exact same. But for me, I felt the dragons did have character and mannerisms. But I didn't think they had enough to be cognizant and be like, this throne is what destroyed my mother.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
no, no. But what I'm saying is I don't think that. I don't think that's ever been him looking at Jon Snow when they're making out stuff like that. To me, is not a full on. He can make those conscious decisions. I think it's good symbolism, but I think it's lots of suspending disbelief.
Do you remember the season or the show or the episode when the episode when Tyrion goes in there and talks to both Viserion and Rhaegal? he talks to them, and they're all chained up. And then he goes to, I think it's Viserion first, and he undoes the chain around his neck. And he keeps talking, and Rhaegal is looking at him. And then Rhaegal turns and actually puts his neck up against towards Tyrion for Tyrion to actually let it unlock it and move.
Yeah.
That's why I think
I can believe that. My dog could do something like that. Izzy has those same emotions. I don't believe Izzy would look at the Iron Throne and be like, this is the cause of my mother's downfall.
You never know.
All this war and this destroy us all. No, that's a lot different from Picky. I don't know. It comes a little cheesy. And also that scene, it's fine. I'll suspend disbelief because I think the scene between Daenerys and Jon were good. But the whole episode after like Tyrion gets locked up, and Tyrion and Jon have a great conversation, too. That was, like I said, everything Tyrion was great. Jon is still sometimes just such a fucking idiot. He could have just slept with her one more time, and everything would have been A-okay. Even though I think that's a bad choice. That, to me, Daenerys, it felt like last episode they made it that she would have not done this stuff if Jon was with her.
Yeah,
and to
but
me, that's
very...
that's not the great
If you're in that
choice.
situation, though, where you're probably going to break up with this girl and she's completely insane, you don't want to prolong it and sleep with her. It's
if
not
I
gonna
could
help.
save thousands of lives, yes.
Really?
Yes. And if she looked like that, yes.
But then you said that
Very easy for me to do.
You said he wasn't, a leader in that regard. I think he took one for the team because he had to sleep with her to get all her troops out there. So that's being a leader.
No, but he wanted to at that point. He needed to sleep with her again before King's Landing. She would have not been that mad because that's what I don't like is. And I get it. You can portray things like that. And I've had that situation where relationships end or things end and you do things you regret. But I've never wanted to kill that person or kill thousands of people. So for me, when she was like talking about love or fear and then he chooses not to kiss her and then she goes, oh, it's fear then. To me, I didn't like that. Felt like the finality setup of, oh, because this man turned her down, she's going to lose it. And I didn't like that because... I don't know. People can say that. For me, it's just I'm not trying to be soul-stressed word. I just didn't like that her big arc has almost taken a big U-turn because there's this man in her life who she's known for a few weeks, who they just love each other so much. It's like, okay, but I just still didn't. I don't know. It's just
so. Let's say you're in the situation,
oh, no.
and full well that this is your aunt.
She's
full on into the incest, and you're not chiving.
I'll throw him under the bus. I was having this exact same conversation with Kyle last night. Back then, in those medieval times, and if you didn't grow up with this person, you just ignore it and you go with the flow. And you know what? Same thing. It's like, yeah, this sucks. It's your aunt, but you're also saving thousands of people, innocent people, and that's the thing too, where Daenerys would always be like, oh, they chose to follow Cersei, even though many times they would tell her, oh, Cersei has an iron hand over this city, no pun intended for Jaime, like she can, has scared these people. So to me, it felt like Daenerys knew well enough that these people are not free willingly following them, and that's the problem with. I wish they almost didn't do the bells thing. They did that to make her more of a bad guy, but it's because that was right then saying, oh, we submit, we give up, whatever. If they're not following them, if they are following them, they've given up. You've won. Nah, I'm just gonna burn this thing to hell. And it is a nitpick. Like I said, I could suspend disbelief, but Tyrion, it is prison, and Tyrion, what's her face, Arya, they're all like, well, she knows about you, so you gotta look out. They're pretty much just implying like you're next. Mm-hmm. And then when he goes up there, Jon Snow goes up there, who everyone's implying, hey, she's probably gonna take you out. She's all lovey-dovey, so fine. Apparently she's not, which to me didn't make sense that the last episode he turned her down. She was super cold to him. And then she was back to being we can be together. It's like, this guy's now turned you down twice. You think the third time's going to work? But fine. She's all lovey-dovey again. The fact that she has no guards whatsoever up there.
Well, she had Drogon. I mean.
Oh, yeah. He did real good.
Yeah, but, obviously Drogon, they can tell who's a Targaryen. In that sense. But so he let Jon Snow pass. But I mean.
But that's why you have some. I just think at that state, when you've just taken over, especially with Daenerys, who has worries. The past 2 episodes has been her like creepily watching Jon. Like, look at all the friends he has. She doesn't have anybody up there when he's going to come greet her.
She didn't think he'd kill her, though. And she had every right to, because Jon Snow wasn't going to until he talked to Tyrion, until Tyrion convinced him that it needed to be done. But other than that, Jon Snow, if he never talked to Tyrion, he wouldn't have done it.
I just don't think so. After that, in episode, what was it? Was it episode 4 4? Yeah, episode 4 when they're at Winterfell partying and everyone's just loving Jon Snow and she's just looking at him so evilly. I don't believe for a second she didn't, because to me that was the whole point. She was starting to get paranoid of him. So to me, for her not to
she wasn't getting paranoid of him.
That's what I
She
think.
felt threatened because he was the rightful ruler. It wasn't because she didn't trust him.
Yeah, I felt like then what they were putting down to have every character close to Jon being like, you need to look out, she's going to do something. They shouldn't have done that then. To plant the seeds that Daenerys is on, because that was the way I wish, if you wanted me to go, oh, what do I wish happened? I wish the finale was, okay, she didn't have to become a villain by killing thousands of people. To me, it was she gets the throne, but then she starts to target maybe Sansa, Arya, and Jon because she just thinks Jon is going to overthrow her. Even if Jon has no reason, that's not what he wants. I thought that was the proper way to make her villain. Instead of, to me, it was a lazy way of just, oh, she's going to kill a bunch of innocent people. Make it something more nuanced, which usually happens with Game of Thrones. And I thought that was what it was going to be, is okay, she's going to be on the throne, but she's not going to trust Jon. So they're going to have a showdown of, you know what, I can't trust you all, so I got to take you out. They had already set up her and Sansa, which is strange because her and Sansa are having these like great scenes together, and they're very attention filled. But that never gets talked upon either, because Jon just kills her. It just very quickly kills her. So all this setup it feels weird. It feels like they set multiple things up and they just decide to go with the easiest and the least interesting of the route. So do you want to talk anything more about Daenerys? Obviously she's going to come up, but any more about what Jon killing her and start of the episode in that chunk? Because then after we get that time jump.
For me, it just felt like it was hard to watch, because I felt like, oh, I know he's probably gonna kill her, and then Jon was like, you're my queen, you'll always be my queen. I thought, oh no, he's going full fanboy here.
I thought he was gonna long con what I thought there was still gonna be a time jump. We only got the time jump was probably weeks or something, but I thought he was gonna say he'd be with her and then maybe kill her, because I thought, knowing Game of Thrones, oh, he can't just kill her right here. There's tons of people around. I thought, he's going to wait till in the throes of passion, stuff like that, then take her out. Take her out somewhere secretly. No, he just took her out.
But that's not Jon Snow.
He's an idiot. He's such an idiot.
He acts in the moment, and then he confesses.
He's a dummy. He's a dummy. And I like Jon Snow, but man, he's my least favorite of the Starks. He's such an idiot. He could have just lied, and he didn't. Oh, it's just, once again, the whole series, he didn't need to tell his sisters about this whole thing. If he didn't, and that's the problem too with why now, looking back, what's the big deal about him being a Targaryen when it didn't really lead to anything? It really didn't. Because I would have bought that if Daenerys did do the whole, I'm really paranoid about Jon. Like you just said, she wasn't. She was paranoid about people and him uprising, but not him. So it's like, nothing came of it, really.
Yeah, but we don't know if he ever really would have told her. I mean, it just happened to be he was in the crypts, and then she came up and started talking like, who's this? This is Lyanna. And she's like, oh, everyone told me that Rhaegar was a super sweet guy. And obviously just paves the way.
She said that he raped her many times. It was the reverse, where she was saying he was a really bad person. And Snow,
is that what happened?
He's a great guy.
They're shitting all over Jon.
No, and then Jon bumped in like, no, he raped her. I just don't think that... This whole thing about Jon Snow and his heritage and his identity was such a big build-up for seasons. And then obviously, once theories kind of went around and books people kind of put it together before it came. So when it happened, it was a big surprise. But it was a fulfilling of we predicted this, but it felt great. But what does it matter now in the end? And it didn't do anything. He didn't control the dragons. He didn't take the throne. And then if it would have mattered, then fine. I could understand the story point of telling the sisters. Him telling the sisters meant nothing. Nothing happened. Sansa and Daenerys didn't have a big showdown. Arya and Daenerys didn't have a big showdown.
But you know what? I mean, at the end of the day, it just...
Jon Snow killed her for separate reasons,
He killed her because she wasn't going to stop. She became a tyrant. She was going to, she said she's going to conquer the whole world and kill innocent people.
That would have happened with or without him being a Targaryen. Right?
Yeah.
That's the thing. So it's just, what's the point? What's the point of being a Targaryen? Where are we?
The fact that he was a Targaryen was to, create the storyline that, he is, able to be on the throne. He can claim it. But then he was put in the situation where he wasn't, he didn't want the throne. First of all, we've known him as a bastard for 7 seasons. So they created this, name to his character. But even then, everyone still called him Jon and Jon Snow. It was just this identity that he didn't want. And he even says he doesn't want it throughout that episode 2 of season 8. And, He
then why say anything? Because he knows it's gonna create problems. He knows Varys is
the
gonna.
same reason why when he's talking to Cersei is like, I've already bent the knee to another queen.
Oh,
you
I know. He's just an idiot. He's just when and then
he is
Tyrion's
the
like, why
most-
can't you just learn to lie for one point in your life? Whatever he says to him.
Because he's the most trustworthy, honorable man. You know.
Yeah,
you'll
well, look what it
find.
got you. Look what it got you. But for me, yeah, I feel now that identity thing just didn't really matter. So that sucks in my opinion. And then we get the time jump. And another thing where his identity should matter, because Varys was sending out notes about his identity. So you think that would come up in this meeting when they go, who should be the rightful king? Who are we going to elect now, king or queen, now that Dany's dead, Cersei's dead? We need to elect somebody. And you think Varys, who died for this, it would come up in the meeting. That's why I thought, oh, Jon will still be king, because they'll go, oh, Varys has been sending around before he died that Jon lineage, and this is a time jump. So we looked into it, and yes, he did commit treason. He killed her, but he is the rightful heir. So it's almost in his reasoning to do that. No one mentions this at all. This huge thing that is probably going around the universe right now. No one talks about Jon being king. And then what do we get?
Honestly, it would have pissed off the Unsullied. They wouldn't have
Who
agreed to it.
cares? Who cares?
Everyone, because it would have been another war. Right now, the Unsullied and the Northmen are the two largest armies in Westeros.
But
The Unsullied probably a bit more.
But okay, and that's fine. But the fact that it didn't even come up at all is ridiculous. Like they didn't.
Because I think that they knew that this it wasn't a card on the table. They couldn't. It wouldn't have happened.
I guess, but then wouldn't they? And their whole thing was about him killing Daenerys, betraying her because she's the rightful queen. What if they know he's the rightful king? They're probably not going to follow him, but are they going to want to just kill him? And maybe, but I just wish it was brought up.
But they steered away from him dying, though, in that sense. The Unsullied want him to die, but then that's why they found that compromise, the Night's Watch or whatever. But I feel like in this sense, it was they didn't want to go into, the whole like bloodlines and who's the rightful heir to the throne kind of thing. And I'm glad that's why they said that the Tully guy or whatever, I can't remember his first name, but Sansa's like, uncle, sit down, and he would have been a shit king. Holy fuck. But I think that them choosing someone and not really allowing it to be like your sons or whatever, because they just fuck things up, but just pick the Lords come together and pick someone that they deem capable of that. And personally, I think Bran is the best choice.
Oh
really
my
do.
god!
I actually want to cosplay as Bran. I think is someone who is aware of every the humanity's past in Westeros, and just knows all these stories and is capable of all these things. I think it was definitely a right decision, because he doesn't have motivations, he doesn't have aspirations. He's not looking to destroy, conquer, dominate. He's looking at helping people grow and further and expand, and they can learn from their past and build a brighter, better future. And I think that's very valuable. I think that's why Bran chose never to be Lord of Winterfell or anything, because he knew that part of him knew that this was something, not that he wanted, but a job that he had to do. Just like being the Three-Eyed Raven. It's, again, not something he wanted, but it was thrown onto him to take over. And that's why I like. And I love that scene when he's like, I choose you to be my hand. And Tyrion's just got this look of like, I just can't do this anymore. Like, really? Anyone else?
Yeah, I did not like the scene at all. I didn't like the choice. I think out of all those, they should have been putting Sansa up there. Because,
oh no!
Yeah, 100%. I don't buy that these people would vote for Bran. I don't think they know enough of his story. I think he's a useless character, because what did he do in the Battle of Winterfell? He just warged, and he was by this tree. We never understood what he was doing. They never told us his really true purpose. And what his true purpose, just to get to be fucking king? Oh, good for you. But there's so many unanswered questions about him that just feels so unfulfilling. And I don't buy these other people would vote for him. And I also think it makes zero sense that there's so many bad things in the scene where Tyrion literally, they ask him for advice and he goes, no, I shouldn't be giving words out because I'm, I look at where I've godness and blah, blah, blah. So there's that. And then people also know that he was supporting Daenerys for months, maybe over a years. I don't know how much time has passed in real time in the show. And this is the person that led to the destruction and killing of innocents in King's Landing. But no, hang on. But then, when out of all people, why the fuck would why would they? What do you think, Tyrion? And then they let him speak, and then they trust him. Oh my goodness! And then my last point in this scene is they just made it too fucking meta. And this is where I think a lot of people that are disliking the finale, and I agree, where it just felt, who's writing this doesn't feel like it has the nuance, the tact that the old seasons do. When Tyrion just looks over and like, you know what, people, they don't want rulers, they want a great story. And I just felt like, oh my God, we get it, you're Game of Thrones. And I think this is the fact where people are just not done with it. Not everybody, but a good majority of people are. I'm done with this because that's so cheesy and so lame. And if you're going with the good story, Sansa's the better story. Bronn is not. Like, if you look in that world, what she's been through and what she's had to overcome. And if you look out of all the characters that have changed from Sansa, who was this annoying little girl who just wanted to be the queen and didn't even care about her sister, like she did, but she would sell them out in a second, to where she is now. That's the fucking story. The person that was married to Joffrey and had to go through all this shit. Bran, who's just been wheeling around doing stuff, nothing that we really fully understand. I don't buy it at all. I think that scene from start to finish was just a mess. And I don't think they did it well at all. And I it's not in the choice. Same thing, not the choice of Bran. It's just the execution. It's just the fact that I thought this season, being the final season of the show, we'd maybe get some knowledge more on what he's been doing. Or even the Battle of Winterfell, we got to protect him. He's so important. Why was he so protected?
Because he was the last person that knew of everyone's history. You know, that was what wanted to be wiped out by the Night King.
How did that? But that didn't affect anything. Well, that's what we don't know. What does that even affect? It's the same thing of Arya with her prophecy. It doesn't matter. She didn't kill him with green eyes. So none of these things matter.
Look at life for us. You know, when there's like horrible accidents or horrible, you know, man-made destructive events or natural disasters, what do people try to save? Our history. They save art. They save, you know, pieces of our past. That's the biggest thing that people try to save.
Man, they're fools.
And that's exactly what's represented here. Bran is that only remaining link to their past and everything.
Who they're just trusting in, though.
Trusting in.
Yeah, it's the same thing as me. I'm a person that's not that religious, so it's the same thing. No, you know, might turn some viewers off. No one knows that the Bible is just not some like Johnny Two Shoes just wrote and then turned like, look at what I found. This is the story of Jesus and God and all this stuff. No one knows that. Oh, I believe in you can believe whatever you want, but you don't know. You don't know. And you know what I've always said? Maybe when I die, God's gonna be there. And I'm like, fuck, I was really wrong about a lot of this stuff. I've come to that conclusion that could very much happen. But I'm the person that's seeing is believing. So I don't think in this show, in the characters we know, as far as maybe Tyrion, the Stark, sure, but all these other people that are voting, I don't think they know enough to be, yeah, let's give this guy the King's Landing and the ruler of the Six Kingdoms now. I didn't buy that. And I think that's why he needed to show something at some point in the season why we could really believe him, trust him, where he didn't. I thought the Long Night was going to be that. But no, he just pieced out. He watched Endgame for a little bit and then he came right back and he did nothing. What
was he going to do though during the Long Night?
But that's what... Something, just anything, even getting some fucking Three-Eyes Raven and help Daenerys and Jon like go Chamber of Secrets and scratch out that dragon's eyes. Like, do something. He didn't do anything. He did nothing, and they had to protect him. Theon, who should die because he's a piece of shit, died for this motherfucker.
Theon redeemed himself.
He's still a piece of shit. His bad still outweighs his good, you know?
Oh, I don't know. I think 100%. His good outweighs his bad now.
No, I don't think so. So, yeah, I did not like that scene. I'm not a fan of Bran as a choice. And, yeah, it's just another, like, woof, you know. But good acting going around, good speeches, you know. Peter Dinklage is great at giving a monologue. When he just started talking about stories, I was just rolling my eyes of, like...
Stories?
Oh, my God.
Travis loves stories.
I wish they wrote a great story for this finale. That's what people do love, you know. And then after that, so, yeah, they make the agreement that Jon's going to go to the Wall, Night's Watch, and then we get into some stuff, very Return the King-like stuff going on. You literally have, and Taylor can, you know, disagree, and he has this new comparing thing that is just, he's just bringing up now because Game of Thrones, but I guarantee you in 2 weeks he's going to compare one thing to another. He's like, oh, I'm not comparing stuff anymore. I don't care. If you have characters, our main characters saying goodbye while there's a fucking boat in the background, they're hugging one another and crying, it is exactly like Return the King. The context is different. Yes, Frodo is going somewhere he wants. Jon Snow is going somewhere he doesn't want, which you could fucking argue because Jon Snow loves that place and he does not want to be in King's Landing or anything like that. So it's, you know, you got that going on. I'll wait till later, but we talked about that on our chat as far as this one's not as bad. It's more symbolism, but the whole, you know, Iron Throne being like the ring and then it dying by fire. That one to me, I'll say fine. You pass that one. But this whole ending with that, and then when they introduce the book of Song and Ice and Fire,
I'll give you the book.
it's just Frodo writing his book. And the docs to me is the exact same. So for me, it just felt now it was really unoriginal. And I don't know, because I've done that before as somebody that wants to be a screenwriter where I'll be like, I got an idea and I start writing and I'll go, fuck, this is Blade Runner. And I go, no, I can't do this. That happens all the time. And then, to me, this felt like that. And like that Starbucks cup, no one caught it until it aired and was like, this is just Return the King. Just the same way it's going. We're seeing all these characters dispersed and buys and happy endings. And to me, it wasn't as bad as you get that, but it's just the fact that Frodo saying goodbye to the hobbits is the exact same scene as John. Things being said are different, the context, but it's the exact same thing. And if you are a different show, a different genre, you can do that. But in a fantasy medieval show, you're going to get those parallels. It's the same way as not minor, but Endgame spoilers. If they did a Justice League 2 and for some reason all the heroes were gone and Batman was there and someone was like, Batman, and all these portals started opening and then DC heroes jumped out, you'd be like, that's fucking Endgame right there. It might be different. It might be Darkseid. They might be playing different music, but it's still, that's Endgame. And this is what this was. This was Return the King. It just felt like, man, that's a great ending to a medieval show. We're going to do that too. And then either they thought that or then, oh shit, we did that. So for me, that took that out for me a little bit because that's something like the great stories. It felt very meta. And it was just like, I've seen this all before. And for a show that's so original, it felt weird that this was not original at all. And then you had them all, we can, I guess, talk about after where they go. But Taylor, you're someone that does not agree with this. You can't compare. God forbid you compare two things that are the exact same. A medieval fantasy tale.
For me, I find that the whole scene with Jon Snow, saying his goodbye to his family, I thought it was great because if you look back at the history of Westeros, you have a Stark bending the knee to Aegon, and it's just him doing it for his people, and just as a way to move on. And here you go, years and years and years later, you have a Targaryen bending the knee to the Stark, on the throne. I just think it's just very poetic the way that transition is. But the whole thing of it, being similar to Lord of the Rings, the book thing, I can give leeway there, but
it's the exact same. Frodo's writing a book called The Fellowship of the Ring. Tyrion gets his book, The Song of Fire and Ice.
I think it's I don't know. It's not like it's the first time they mentioned the title of the book in the actual story. They're always saying through Fire and Blood, what are the other titles? Song of Storms.
Put together in that context is, I don't know.
I don't know. But for me, I think I don't know. I don't have much to say really on it. Like the comparison, really,
because it's right. It's right. The more you think about it,
I mean, the throne with the ring, Gollum analogy. I didn't get that at all because her aspirations grew far from the throne to something else. And yeah, you can say, well, Gollum never put the ring on and she never sat in the throne. I mean, again, completely different situations and circumstance. He with Daenerys, she turned around and she saw her lover and just was like, started talking. With Gollum, I don't think he's ever put the fucking ring on, period. He's just,
Gollum
has he ever put it on?
I thought he did. I thought that's why he's looking like that. I'm not gonna.
I thought it was just long life that just kind of changed and not living in ideal conditions.
Oh no, he did after he killed Smeagol and Deagle. Remember?
Deagle?
He kills Deagle, and then he puts it on and he disappears and he goes in the cave. Wait till we get to Return of the Kings or Lord of the Rings retro.
Yeah.
Deagle. Who the fuck names his people Smeagol and Deagle? What's going on in Shiretown?
Shiretown. Oh, but yeah, no, yeah.
So then you got the Starks. They're going off. Hashtag Travis told you. They're going off. John's going black. He's going black. He's going back to the Night's Watch, which I thought I liked that ending for him. Actually, I thought it was fitting. He doesn't want the throne. Yeah, he can't see his family. Excuse me. But at the end of the day, it didn't seem like they were going to see each other anyways. Arya's going to do her own thing. Sansa's going to be busy. And I guess he could have, I thought like, I guess he would stay by Bran's side, but he has Bran for that and she's a badass. So.
And Podrick. Sir Podrick.
Yeah, sure. So I guess there's part of him that obviously doesn't want this, but at the same time, it still just felt like he was at home when he got there. This is his life. And they can say, oh, you can't father children, you can't do this, but he's already broken those rules before. He's gonna break them again. Jon Snow is like one of the worst characters as far as being honorable until he doesn't want to be. You know, like, oh, I've taken vows. When he's talking about Daenerys about his people not sleeping with, maybe people related to him. He took vows of the Night Watch too, but he was getting it on that cave. So he's one of the most hypocritical characters in the world. He's honorable until like he doesn't need to be.
Well, the vows too. It's what Master Aemon even stated too. Is the vows are just there because it's love is the death of duty, and these men on the Night's Watch, they have to be committed to their duty. But it didn't. The fact still remains that even he says if we were to punish every single member of the Night's Watch for sneaking away to have a sex time, there'd be a lot of people punished, because everyone snuck out and whored around at the local tavern and stuff.
I think it's the same way as in Pirates of the Caribbean or Dead Man's Chest when Barbosa's asked for the pirate's code and he says, they're more guidelines, and that's what these are. Because they just said he can't father children. Doesn't mean he can't go and do whatever he wants. And even then, his father hid him. He can father a child and hide it because we don't know where he's going. So I guess we can go character by character. But yeah, so they're going to the north. Maybe they'll find the wildlings' new home, but there's a chance Jon doesn't even go back to that.
Oh, no. Well, he's not going back to the Night's Watch. That ending was clearly stating that. When the gate closed, that was shutting off his journey or his path back there, because he turned around and he turned then to face out to the north and he smiled to himself. You just know he's not going back, and I'm glad he's not.
But does that mean he left Ghost there?
No, he took Ghost with him.
Were they in that pack when they were?
Yeah,
walking
Ghost.
Up? Okay,
Ghost
good,
was with them.
good, and that was good because everyone was pissed off about that when he left and didn't pet Ghost. So I'm glad they did that finale. But out of all the endings I think I liked his the most at the Starks, because then we got Sansa, who they made the North and Independent Kingdom, and she's the queen, which I like, but I still I still think personally she should have been the main one if you think about the way they laid it and who was left.
Yeah, you could say that, but again, no one would be there to remain to lead Winterfell or be Warden of the North. And for me,
Send
in this
Bran
sense,
down there.
No, Bran's king. So
no,
and he
no,
didn't.
That's
he
what I'm
didn't,
saying. Make her queen of the King's Landing and send him to fucking Winterfell.
He didn't want that. But
he didn't want being King's Landing either. So
yeah, but he knew he had to be.
What? Yeah,
why do you think I came all this way?
Because he's such a.
But,
I bet he's lying. He's just a fucking liar. We didn't see that.
For me though, I think Sansa being queen of the North, I think that's fantastic because it just does justice to what Robb Stark set out to do all those years ago. Just setting on his campaign just to be free and be an independent. And I think it's finally does justice for them and all the the Starks, for them to finally be their own people, because they always felt like they worship the old gods compared to the Andals worshiping the new and all that stuff. They're a very different way of life, and I think it's very funny how there's the Six Kingdoms now.
Yeah, and then that's what I mean. I like her ending, but I could have liked it more. And then you got Arya, who I thought was gonna go off with what's his name?
Gendry?
Yeah. When she's like, "Oh, I'm not going back," I thought she was gonna, because I don't know exactly what's going on with her character. Because I get that they hounded that. Oh, if you come with me, you're gonna die. But she only needed to follow Hound like 30 more steps, and she could have just fucking sliced Cersei up and then left and still been okay. So I don't know. And then I hated that. Man, the two things I've hated some of the most in this season is one in episode 5 when they just trying to make you think Arya's gonna die the whole time, and same thing in the Long Night. How many times do we got to see people pinned against a wall?
Yeah, plot armor.
Yeah, and then cut, and then like 20 minutes later they're back and they're fighting. It's just so lame.
Well, that's the thing with
so many times.
Beric Dondarrion, I think Dondarrion or whatever. He's the guy with the eye patch. He was resurrected so many times
keep her alive.
Yeah, to keep her alive. And I think the Hound, was meant to go up to this journey so that he could stop Arya from going to kill Cersei, because Arya wasn't meant to die there. I think it's just the way it was meant to be.
I just don't think she would have died, because Cersei got down to those crypts still, so she would have had time to kill her and bounce and get on that horse.
True. I guess. I don't know.
I just don't know what, because to me I thought that was almost her turning away the life of being a killer and try to have some normalcy. So that's why I thought, she'd go with that guy. But then she's going off to the west, past west.
West of Westeros. There's nothing there.
Yeah, and to me, it's just, I don't know. Did you get the sense, because I said this to Emily when we were watching it, I don't know if they'll do it right away, but did you get the sense that could be one of the spin-off shows?
Well, from what I've been looking...
Because there's 3 announced, and we only know 1 is a prequel.
1 is a prequel, yeah. I don't know. If they do a sequel, I think it would be a long ways off before we get it. Which is why I think they're doing the prequel, obviously, first. And Yeah, it makes me wonder what they're gonna do for that actual prequel. I think it's gonna be.
I don't know if the first prequel of this, but there's been people, which I hope not. There's been people speculating if it's like the Knights, whatever. What are the fuck the White Walkers like origins?
Oh,
and
give
whatnot.
it to me!
I don't
I
want
fucking
that.
want it.
I think the reason why a sequel is potential. Game of Thrones, that episode last night was their biggest ratings episode ever. I honestly don't. I'm very interested to see that prequel series and how it does, because it was big episode numbers, but I do feel, whether you liked it or not, you can see there's a big divide, and it is kind of that same thing with Star Wars, like what happened with Solo, like right after. It's like, I'm not ready for more Stars after Last Jedi for some people. So I am excited to see that prequel one. I don't really care. I will watch that series. I'll give it a few episodes, but I think unless it's really good, I think I'll maybe kind of watch it week to week, or I'll just not watch it all. It's the same way when I was a fan of Walking Dead, but when they did Fear the Walking Dead, I'm like, I don't need this in my life. And same thing, I liked Game of Thrones a lot, but I don't need a prequel. If they say, hey, we're doing that show about Arya, that to me is something that would get those numbers. I don't think a Game of Thrones prequel, I think it's still going to be successful, but I don't think it will reach this height. Where
it depends, though. I mean, I don't think they'll do the show right away. I mean, I think they're working on the pilot episode or something like that. I think
the prequel's definitely first.
Yeah, but I think it'll be still a long time before we get it. And that being said, I feel like people love the Starks, and if they start focusing on this show, this prequel that has the first men, the first Starks in it, and you have the Children of the Forest and these OG White Walkers, like multiple Night Kings, which is supposedly that.
You don't know that there's going to be Starks in it, though.
Well, the Starks were the first men that actually arrived at Westeros.
So that's what I mean. We don't know how far. We don't know if this prequel is like right at the beginning or where it takes place.
Yeah, we don't know when. The Starks formed their house kind of like down the line. Originally, it was just the first men, and that's you got the Fist of the First Men and all that stuff set up.
Fist of the First Man. Yeah. So we've talked about episode. Anything else you want to show in this episode or the season or the series or whatnot? Because now's the time, or forever hold your peace.
For me, I think overall in this season, I found the first 2 episodes to be just outstanding, setting it up. What was going to happen, and then again, episode 3 just. I've watched that about 5 times, and it's just such I didn't like it the first time. I thought it was really disappointing. I really didn't want the Night King to die. I wanted this to transition to the Night King going to King's Landing, them all teaming up, facing it, because to me, I felt like after Jon Snow and they had that whole setup to them showing the white to Cersei, it brought everyone together that this is the enemy. And it had so much build-up for it. So if you had everyone grouped together and formed this massive army, then, it just... They actually come together and defeat it, but the army battle happens, for of course, like 2 episodes. Then you have afterwards, everyone goes at each other's throats, and maybe Cersei even dies in the battle or something like that. The White Walkers just get so overpowering, and
maybe it would have been better the way she went out too. That's another thing that I think she's the biggest villain of this show, and she got the sympathetic death. And like you said, that's sometimes when you go, that's them just trying to. Maybe subvert expectations. When you think that's going to happen, it won't. But I just feel Cersei was someone that needed a good killing. You needed that sigh of relief of we got this bitch.
But then you could also look at it as that she died, just a very, a super basic death that, no one is going to remember her. She died buried. No one's going to wonder where she went or whatever. She just died as nothing.
There's no one to remember. When they made Bran the king, I was like, who the fuck is he ruling? Who is?
Well, there are people popping back up. Everyone's like, well, we're back in King's Landing now, cleaned up the ash. But for me, though, I mean, after we watched an episode multiple times, I just started to actually really come around and really like it. And I thought, the Night King, he did exactly what, he wanted to set out to do. He dominated. He was a force to be reckoned with. And I love that. I thought the whole scene,
he was an idiot.
The cinematography, everything about that episode was just so brilliant. I love the Dothraki charge, even though I've watched so many videos on how to change battle tactics of people analyzing the battle, and what they planned was a fucking pathetic attempt at a defense. It was absolutely horrible.
That battle episode was not, because I was the reverse, where I liked it a bit more than you, but when I watched it again, I was like, oof, I didn't like. I hated the plot armor in that episode, which is just it was awful. It was awful how many times they would just have people piling on and then cutting away. They kill off all the Dothraki to then next episode be like, oh, we still have half. It's like,
remember, she had 100,000 Dothraki, but there wasn't 100,000 there.
I guess. Then where were they for the rest of that episode?
I'm assuming she didn't bring everything with her.
Yeah, because that's when you don't. That's when you don't want to bring anything. When there's this fucking army that outnumbers you almost 10-1. No, let's hold some people back. Yeah, that was not great.
But that's the thing too.
Too dark too. That episode was dark
I didn't
as
find
shit.
the episode dark at all. I don't know what the fuck's wrong with everyone's fucking TVs. I watched it with
Nothing.
the sun shining down on my fucking TV, and I could still see shit clear. I don't know. You got to change the settings on
Nothing.
your TVs. Mine fucking played everything perfectly.
Sucked.
But I feel like, with the Dothraki, they should have come in on the side flanks. They shouldn't have charged straight on. But I loved, again, how that filming was. You get this boost of morale as the flames light up on all of their Dothraki blades. And it's just like, oh, this is sick. And they go in, and just the lights just start diminishing. And then just when they mount over the Unsullied, just this wave of dead bodies pile on top of each other, like flooding through. I just thought, oh, this is just so great. This is absolutely awesome. But again, they had the trench behind the army with only a few access points. They had their siege equipment or whatever, in front of the Unsullied. They should have had them built up on the battlements of the castle. I don't know what the fuck John was thinking. Backup plans. Have a wider trench. Put tons of huge, massive logs out in the battlefield that funnels them through choke points where you can actually focus on those areas. There's so many different tactical things that could have been done, but at the end of the day, it was very entertaining. One of my saddest moments of this season in general is obviously Rhaegal dying. I hated that. It was sad when Daenerys died. I'll give him that. But Lyanna Mormont, when she died, oh, I thought she was such a badass. She was a badass motherfucker. That little girl for House Mormont.
I know.
Oh my god. And when she took that giant down, holy shit, man, that was great. But yeah, it's hard. It's like, for me, it's like Endgame. It's like the end, so it's...
This is not like Endgame. When people always talk about, I can't remember, it was this and some other show, people were talking about like, oh yeah, you never usually get, we never get what we want. It's always tough with endings. That's why they're so bad. That's why they're disappointing. No. One, like I said, go watch Breaking Bad. And two, yeah, maybe there's some people that have some minor problems with Endgame, but I feel those are in the very, very minority, because I just feel like that when you talk about, oh yeah, no series ends perfectly. Right there, that's a series that ended above and beyond. It's just, and that this is a far cry in my opinion, which is, it's still a good show, but far cry.
A lot of people are saying, like it's like Dexter and stuff. And there's no way I would ever say this like Dexter. With Dexter, I felt like so empty and like really, like what? And I feel like all these other people, I don't know where they're coming from, but with this, I love the score, and what's his name? I think Rami. I can't remember his last name, but like the composer, Rami Bolton, the composer for the score. Especially the track of The Long Night was absolutely outstanding. One of the best, pieces of music I've ever heard. It was just fantastic, and it just added to the ending so much. I think for me, it ended, really, really well. And I've watched it twice now, and it's starting to grow on me more. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, no, I would agree with you. I do not think it is Dexter levels, but I think for some people it is, like that's how it goes and that's how they feel. I don't think it's anywhere close, because Dexter had a shit, well, I guess this didn't have a shit season, but still not the greatest season. But Dexter quality was far worse. Like I said, everyone has their own opinion, so if you feel that way, that's great. But for me, it's like there's no contest. Like Game of Thrones finale is much better than Dexter, but I think it's like a satisfying but messy finale, and like the only other thing I'd shout this season, I only shout a little bit, is Jaime Lannister's my favorite character. I used to kind of up there with Tyrion, but Jaime, I just loved his arc and his story from just seeing this piece of shit guy to becoming a good man, and you could just slowly see that transition, not the transaction. But then these last few episodes, they just destroyed his character. In the last episode, he's alive and he's just talking about how he's never really cared for the people of King Landing. Yet there's this great emotional scene, and I think in season 2 of him and Brienne in this bath, and he's just crying, talking about how that's why he took out the king, because he didn't want men and women and children to die. So it's like, okay, you guys have no idea what you're doing with this character. And I get it. And that's where it all depends on different strokes for different folks. If you bought the whole, love, overcame and he loved that person, I just didn't buy it for what they're doing with him hooking up with Brienne, which I want for so long, and I like Brienne's little, protected his queen to the end or whatever. I think that they really bungled him big time. I think he's still one of my favorites, but I wouldn't put him in the top 10 now for my favorite TV characters, because I think they really trashed that character. I did not buy him going back to save her, and especially because that same episode, she sent someone to kill him, So I just feel like that would further put over the point of we're so far apart. It doesn't even matter that she is my child. She literally sent someone here to kill me.
Fucking Braun.
And then the next episode, I gotta save her. I don't even like some people say, oh, you just want him to kill her. I did, but there's just so many other ways you could have handled his character. And for me, as that guy was my favorite, I tune every week. I just feel the whole love overriding everything. I get what they're going for. They die in each other's arms. But again, I just thought it was unwarranted. I didn't, for an episode, for him to, honestly, they made it feel really much like he loved Brienne and to be going through all this and for them to make love and him to be together. And then it just, once again, all happened in a span of the episode. And it was just, if you're going to do that, you got to sell me better. And as that my favorite character, I was very disappointed. And that hurt me big time, the show. So,
yeah, fair enough.
So, are you giving an overall or something?
No, I was just going to say, because you brought up favorite characters, I'm just going to lay it out. Mine, as far as characters go, Tormund, Giantsbane, Sir Davos Seaworth, Prince Oberyn Martell, and Rhaegal the Dragon.
Fucking Rhaegal.
And I'm a Ned Stark fan. I'm a Jon Snow fan. Arya Stark, I like her too.
Robb Stark's way better than Ned Stark.
Robb Stark's better than Ned Stark?
Oh, sorry,
whoa.
Jon Snow.
I will admit, I was a Robb Stark fan before I was a Jon Snow fan. But when Robb died, I was like, oh, I gotta find a new guy to latch on here. And then Prince Oberyn bumped into first after, ahead of Jon Snow. But then he fucking died.
I was not a fan of Jon Snow for a while. I liked him, but I also think that's, I'm not trying to be mean here, but I also think in those earlier seasons, Kit Harington is not the greatest actor. I think he's just, and Jon Snow is a very docile, just within themselves character, but there's just sometimes where I don't give a fuck about this guy at all. So yeah, Tyrion, Arya's up there for me. That one's an easy one to say. I also like a lot of characters. It'd be easier for me to name you characters I dislike a lot more than I like, and Night King's definitely up there.
Oh no, Night
King. Whatever Greyjoy, I didn't like him from an acting and writing
standpoint.
Euron
or Theon?
Euron. Theon I didn't like, but because I didn't like that because you're not supposed to. Euron, I think he was a little over the top in this show. He was just always like, I just never actually bought him and Cersei being together either. He just was like, again, problems with this season. So
I'm very sad that Varys died, actually. I liked Varys, and I'm also, what was the other thing I was going to mention? Oh, how did you feel about the Hound and the Mountains fight?
I liked it. I don't think it was as epic as I was hoping, but I don't even know what I was really hoping. So I think I enjoyed it, but it's not a fight. I guess that's the best way I could say it, that I enjoyed it, good fight, but it wasn't the fight I'm going to be thinking about in 2 weeks from now. I thought there's better fights on the show, and I think they did a good job, but I think it's also just because so much build up. But at the same point, I could say that, but again, same thing when we're talking about Endgame, there's stuff like that when not even not the Poros fight, but just even a fight of Cap, Tony, and Thor versus Thanos, that completely lives up to a fight. I don't know if this is a budgetary thing or rating thing, but for me, it was good, but I didn't walk away being, that was amazing. That was everything I hoped for. It's like, okay, it was fine.
Did you expect him just to kill Qyburn, who had the fastest death out of anyone in Westeros?
No, and I didn't like that because I don't know what the fuck the Mountain's deal is, because he died and he's a zombie, and they've just said, they've made him he obeys Cersei and he's just a mindless zombie robot. But then when he sees his brother, he remembers everything and his emotions. That was lame.
He just hates his brother so
but
much.
he shouldn't. This isn't him anymore. This is a new Mountain. He's dead. He's zombified. He's not that guy anymore.
But it's stimulated part of the membranes.
Bullshit. When they set up no, his memory's gone. He'll just serve you. That was bullshit.
Did you find him to be like Darth Vader, kinda?
Kind of, but even lamer version.
An even lamer version.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Oh well.
Well, we have predictions, things that we did. Hang on, before you go, we did this at Taylor's. We did a watch on the first episode, and then we did predictions. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to get you to rate this season and then rate the show if you're brave enough. You don't have to.
Ooh, yeah.
But what would you give the season out of 10, and then what would you give the entire show out of 10? Which obviously that probably will change in years to come. But just your initial feelings.
This season, 10
out of 10.
It had things that I disagree with, but it had things that, it did things because it had to do these things this way, but then it had these things it could have done better. It's not perfect, but for me, this season, I would give it I would give it, and for me, it's heavily just the Long Night episode that really just encompasses most of this for me, but I would give it probably a 7 out of 10.
The whole season?
No, the whole season. Yeah.
Whoa, that's lower than I was expecting
Well,
for you.
I feel like, there were lots of things like it really, I hate that it's over, and I would have loved one more season, and I hate that, I'm bummed that Daenerys is dead, and I'm bummed that, I'm happy, Jon Snow's happy where he is, but I'm bummed that he is on the north side of the wall and all this stuff, but it's the end of the journey and the adventure, but for me, the Long Night was just a huge episode of change that just brought so much change into the show, and just what happened. It was just crazy, and just so many other different things that happened. The whole series, though, as a whole, it's an easy 10 out of 10 for me.
That makes zero sense.
How?
You cannot give a season a 7 out of 10 and then the entire show a 10 out of 10 because that means you have problems with it. So if you were to do the average, if you scored every
So it'd be
season,
a 9 out of 10 then?
Well, yeah, think about it. If you gave this season a 7 out of 10 and if you put all your scores together, there's no way they'd be a 10 out of 10. And you can't say, oh, this is when other things are compared. This is an entire Game of Thrones show.
Fair enough. I will go, obviously, a 9.5 out of 10. I think the season, the whole show itself is just absolutely, brilliant from start to finish. It's just such an emotional journey, having everything all, lined up in sync back to back. The characters that have come and we've lost, it's just such an emotional thrill ride. I remember back in the day, it was like, Walking Dead's on and Game of Thrones is on, two shows that, you don't know who's going to live or who's going to die. But that being said, Game of Thrones easily trumped it, in the factor that, this is the show where you don't know who is safe and who isn't. And for me personally, I loved season 7. I love season 6. I love those later seasons, that unfolded. I thought they were a great setup for what was coming. And, but yeah, that's where I stand for this show. I'm sad to see it go, but I'm excited to see that Night King prequel. Fucking give it to me. I'm salivating it at the lips. Travis Taylor reviewing it.
You'll be alone on that. I don't give a shit about Night King. Yeah, I'd keep it quick. I'll give this season a 6 out of 10. I think it was all made very well, but lots of choice and execution not that good. The whole show overall, I would give it an 8 out of 10 because I really enjoyed it. I think it's a great show. I'm excited one day to watch it again, but I'm in no rush to watch it again. Like I said, I think there's seasons that were great and seasons that are 10 out of 10s, but then there's other seasons that were really slow or things to me that didn't amount enough for the time that was spent on them, or like I said, a lot of deaths that to me sometimes it was shock value. I was like, wow, they really did that. But I'm also a person, to me, I get it. I 100% get why people love the Red Wedding. I'm a person that doesn't, because to me it just killed off like 4 storylines, and I get it did propel some stuff, but also it just felt, wow, a lot of interesting stuff was happening with these characters, and we just took it out right away. And I get it. I'm in the big time minority in that, but yeah. So an 8 out of 10 for me. So what are these predictions? So we can just read off yours and mine. We don't need to read all of them because there's tons of them. But
you don't want me to read everyone's to see who actually gets all the points and wins?
Sure. If you make this quick,
I'll make it very quick. You don't have a pen on you, do you? A pen would make this super easy.
Sharpie.
A Sharpie works just outstanding.
So we did this at the very beginning of the episode. I'll tell the season. I'll tell you that my pick for who I thought was the Iron Throne, the reason I picked it is because I had literally zero, and I think that's because I'm not the biggest fan of the show. I wasn't theorizing other people. I was like, I don't know. So I had a wild pick that definitely was not true at all, and I was hoping my pick also had to do with it being a time jump, and I thought somebody was pregnant, but no, I was completely wrong.
So this sheet basically goes, we have a whole roster of characters, people we checkmark we thought were alive, dead, become a White Walker, and then bonus questions: is Dany pregnant? Who kills the Night King? And who holds the Iron Throne at the end? And I can tell you right now, I think we all wrote Daenerys is pregnant as yes, but she's not pregnant, so no points there. I
almost feel like you should have done this off air and had the questions ready, or the points ready.
I probably should have, but I didn't think that far ahead. But okay, so the secretary, Jon Snow is alive. She put dead, so she doesn't get the point there. Sansa Stark is alive. She gets 1 point. I'll go points like that.
Gripping television.
Yeah, Arya Stark is alive. She gets another point. Bran Stark dead. Nope.
I wish.
Cersei Lannister dead. She gets a point. Jaime Lannister dead. She gets a point. Daenerys Targaryen alive. Yara Greyjoy alive.
I will say I didn't know half these people, so most of the people I didn't know, I just put dead.
Theon dead. The Hound dead. The Mountain she put becomes a White Walker. Nope. Samuel Tarly alive. Yep. Gilly dead. No. Sam
Jilly? Isn't it Gilly?
Gilly, yeah.
Jilly.
Sam the Child becomes a White Walker. Nope. Lord Varys alive. Nope. Brienne of Tarth becomes a White Walker. No. Davos White Walker. No. Bronn. Podrick Payne is not dead. Bronn doesn't become a White Walker. Tormund Giantsbane does not become a White Walker. Grey Worm doesn't become a White Walker. Gendry is alive, so that's a point. Beric Dondarrion doesn't become a White Walker. Euron doesn't become one. Missandei doesn't become one. Daenerys is pregnant. No. Who kills the Night King? Arya. She gets bonus point there. Who holds the Iron Throne at the end? Not Daenerys. So Emily has 10 points.
10 points. Okay, double digits.
Is crazy. Oh, we're on Kyle now. Ooh, Jon Snow dead? Nope. Sansa Stark alive? Yes. Arya alive. Bran dead? Nope. Cersei, he put alive.
Whoa, bold prediction by Kyle. I gotta ask him about that one. What was he thinking? Cersei here being alive. Wow, I wonder who he put at the Iron Throne. Maybe he thought she was gonna make the whole way.
He put Jaime Lannister as a White Walker. Didn't happen. He put Daenerys as alive. He's just putting everyone alive. Yara alive. He gets a point. Theon alive.
Whoa, he was going for that. He was going for those really happy endings.
Oh, wait a second. Melisandre. Oh no, she didn't get a point for that. Yeah, he put Melisandre dead, so he gets a point for that. Jorah Mormont dead, gets a point for that.
So mad about Jorah.
Yeah, that was sad.
Well, I meant because I maybe predicted he was alive, and I didn't think that one through.
The Hound dead. The Mountain put as a White Walker. No, he got the Hound right.
What's with these people doing Mountain the White Walkers? They were nowhere near, but hey, fair enough.
Samuel Tarly doesn't die. Gilly doesn't die. Sam Baby doesn't die. Lord Varys, he predicted dies. He gets a point. Brienne of Tarth alive, gets a point. Davos Seaworth gets a point. Bronn alive, gets a point. Podrick dies. Tormund dies. Grey Worm dies. Gendry dies. Beric, he put as alive. Euron, he put as alive. And Missandei, he put as alive. He put as Daenerys pregnant, yes. He gets a point for Arya killing the Night King. Daenerys holding the Iron Throne at the end, nope. So he's winning.
How's he winning? No,
by 1 point.
Oh wow, he started off slow there, but
he did.
Wow.
We're on Travis now.
Oh boy, here we go.
Jon Snow, you put dead.
Yeah,
you don't
I did.
get a point. Sansa Stark, you put as alive, so you get a point. Arya, you put as alive, you get a point. Bran Stark, you put as dead. Everyone thought he was going to die.
That was a hope.
Oh boy, Cersei, you chose dead, so you get a point.
Yeah.
Jamie, you said dead,
Her and
you get
Jamie
a point.
I knew were fucking goners.
Daenerys, you said dead, you get a point.
Yeah.
Yara, you said dead, but she's alive. Theon, you said dead, so you get a point.
Come on.
Melisandre, it looks like you changed it from dead to alive because you put a line on dead, but a check mark on alive. So,
fuck Travis.
Jorah Mormont, you definitely changed to being alive.
Yeah, I knew I had him as dead. I don't know why for some reason. I thought Daenerys was gonna die and he was gonna be there for that, but it was the reverse. I'm slipping.
You put where we go? The Hound and the Mountain both as dead. That's good. Samuel Tarly, you put as alive.
Yeah, Sam.
Oh, you're gonna rack the points up here.
I put a lot of dead at the
as
end.
alive.
Oh yeah.
Sam Child, you put as alive.
Oh yeah.
Lord Varys, no. Brienne of Tarth is alive.
I said Lord Varys was alive.
No, you said Lord Varys is alive. Yeah, but he died.
Damn it, Travis.
It was Brienne of Tarth. Sir Davos Seaworth, you said dead. Bronn, you said is alive. Podrick Payne, you put dead. Tormund dead. Everyone you put dead. Tyrion, now you wrote Tyrion in here, so it counts. No one else wrote Tyrion in when I told them to, so you get the point.
Oh yeah,
Tyrion.
and I put alive, right? I had me worried last night. I thought he was going.
Missandei and Euron Greyjoy, you get points for
Woo,
that.
look at that.
And you get Arya as well.
Woo!
So Travis takes the lead
You
with
want to
15,
tell them who
16,
I had
17.
on the Iron Throne?
Yes, Travis had John and Danny's kid.
I was going for the big long
Bold
con.
prediction.
Like I said, I had no idea. Everyone the whole year, someone who's going to be thrown. And when we got to voting, I was like, I have no fucking idea. So I'm like, I'm gonna just go for it. So we would have never got Bran though. So
No, that definitely wouldn't have been my prediction. So Madison, Jon Snow alive, 1 point.
So what did I get there? I have 17.
You have 17.
Okay, so here we
She
go.
didn't vote. Or she missed one. Oh, misses a point. On Sons of Stark. Arya, she put as alive. Bran Stark, she put as alive. Cersei, she put as alive. Jaime, she put as alive. Danny, she put as
what's
alive.
going with those Cersei Jaime?
Yeah. Yara Greyjoy, she put as dead. Theon, she put as alive. Melisandre, she put as alive. Jorah, she put as alive. Or maybe I can't tell. No, she put a check on alive, so it counts. I don't know what the X is. The Hound, she put as dead. The Mountain, she put as dead. Samwell Tarly, ooh, she's gonna get some points here. Sam is alive. Gilly is alive. Baby Sam is alive. Lord Varys is dead. Brianna Tarth is alive. Sir Davos Seaworth is alive. Bronn is alive.
Oh no.
Podrick, she put alive. Tormund, she put alive. Grey Worm, she put as dead.
Oh yeah.
Gendry, she put as alive.
Oh, no.
Beric is dead. Euron and Missandei are both dead. Who kills the Night King? Jon Snow. Daenerys pregnant, yes. Who sits on the throne of the end? Jon Snow. So she has 10, 14.
Oh, I was getting worried at the end there. So it's all down to Taylor if he can beat my score. Somehow, if I win this, it's fucking so crazy as Mr. Mainstream Game of Thrones.
Very crazy.
Travis told you. Let's go. It's gonna happen.
Okay.
I actually don't trust him. He probably changed it all, and he's gonna get a perfect 30 out of 30, whatever it is. Last night he had his own sheet. Oh.
So for myself, I got Jon Snow is alive. I got Sansa Stark is alive. Arya Stark is alive. Bran Stark is alive. I put Cersei Lannister is dead. I put Jaime Lannister becomes a White Walker. Daenerys Targaryen I put as alive. Yara Greyjoy I put as dead. Theon I put as dead. Melisandre I put as alive.
Ooh, lots of alive on her.
Jorah Mormont I put as dead. The Hound I put as alive. The Mountain I put as dead. Samwell Tarly is alive. I don't know why, but I guess I predicted Gilly was gonna get fucking killed.
And does that mean the baby too?
No, the baby lives.
So Sam was alone with his baby.
Get one with the baby. Lord Varys I put as alive. Brianna Tarth, Brianna Tarth is alive. Sir Davos Seaworth I put as dead, which I hated because I was afraid he was gonna die. Got one for Bronn. Podrick Payne becomes a White Walker. Tormund Giantsbane alive. Grey Worm dead. Gendry dead. Beric Dondarrion becomes a White Walker. I have to think about this one because he died, and then at what point did he die before the Night King raised his arms? Because if that's Beric with the eye patch, so see, he saved Arya. So
we never got to see his body though.
We never did, but if he died before the scene of the Night King, then he technically becomes one because we know he died there.
Well, put it to the side and let's see. If it's a defining point, we'll look into it. But if you still lose, then we don't need to look into it.
Okay. Euron Greyjoy I put as died. And Missandei I put as dead. And Tyrion I said is alive. And Daenerys pregnant I put yes. Who kills the Night King? Jon Snow. Holds the throne at the end? Jon Snow. So I have 15.
So you're 2 off. So no matter what, even if that eye patch guy was a White Walker or not, it wouldn't matter because I got 17.
Wouldn't matter. I came solid.
Oh my goodness.
I'll go in order. So yeah, Travis.
Let's go.
His bold predictions of everyone dying. 17. I came second with 15. Madison came third with 14. Kyle came fourth with 11. And Emily came fifth with 10.
Oh, sorry, Emily.
Oh, yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning in this nice spin-off offshoot of Game of Thrones. I guess if the prequels about Night King, Taylor will be back talking about that.
I'll be back. I'll be there.
Taylor, where can they find all our links? And if you want to follow us, like we said at the beginning of this cast, tons of reviews coming out, tons of content, and you want to stick around because we got something I want to keep teasing it, but I can't announce officially. But we got something spicy for our 4-year anniversary in July, so I think people will be happy, especially if you're fans of Marvel Ultimate Alliance. Which thank you for supporting that cast. That cast is doing huge, so we're hyped for that game. So sorry, probably no tournament, Taylor. It's gonna be that Marvel life, you know.
Oh, get that tournament.
If you can help us beat the game quicker, you know. But you're gonna have to wait till November to try and get that cheat code. Plus, what's the tournament for? Kirkland hasn't cast into the cheat code.
I think
the
you need
bastard.
to. Yeah, I don't know.
He has a
what
whole
he's
year,
doing.
so that's
I don't know
why
what
we
he's
can't do
doing.
a tournament actually, because he still has
No,
it.
you should bring. I haven't talked to the chairman. They should bring in some other kind of, some other token or some other kind of, prize or something.
If you can talk Dylan out of not playing Ultimate Alliance for what we're planning, good on you. But I don't think so. That guy had a whole flow chart of rosters and whatnot made for our cast. So yeah, he's hyped. We're playing that game.
Jesus. Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, make sure to check out the Game of Thrones poll happening just for a few more days. Every rotation at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Check out the Facebook in the search bar with your internet connection, Geekverse Space Podcast, and yeah.
Boom. Follow the links down below in the description of the video or the audio. You can find our social media, all our audio feeds, video feeds, everything. Whatever you watch or listen on, please subscribe. That helps us out a lot. Patreon, you get stuff early. Clone Wars retros, X-Men retros are all there for weeks early, some of them months early. $1, you get half the content. $5, you get everything. So thank you very much for tuning in. And when you hear from us next time, it'll not be boring.
Bye-bye. Oh, yeah, you're...